President-elect Biden, of course, faces a daunting task, reuniting Americans after a bitter election and a bitter 4 years. Most of us now say, get this, that the biggest threat to our way of life is not economic collapse or natural disasters or even a foreign invasion. It's us, our fellow Americans. 54% of us cite our fellow Americans. If there is good news, though, it is this. We've actually been here before. Time doesn't move any differently at the birthplace of America. But a lot of history is collected here at the building where both the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution were signed in colonial Philadelphia. That's America's birthplace, where it all started. How do you think it's going?
America is in turmoil right now.
Not too good. Terrible.
We came to learn something about America today. How's it going in the country?
Horrible right now.
Horrible?
Yeah.
And found that people who journeyed here from all across the country are unified on at least one point.
America's right now.
Could you rephrase? They didn't all use language like that, of course, but the sentiment was clear as a bell.
This doesn't feel like America, the America I was raised to love and believe in.
I'm not exactly sure that we're in the place that the founding fathers would have wanted us to be in.
We're supposed to be like founded on like liberty and justice for all, and it doesn't feel like that's what's going on right now.
It should be America under one nation, under God, indivisible, but I don't see it that way in my eyes right now.
Our national mood, not to mention our 220-year tradition of peaceful transfers of power, took a blow this month as rioters overran the U.S. Capitol. But Jessica Roney, a professor of early American history at Temple University, says, don't go getting nostalgic.
We've never been a unified country. We've always had these huge fractures. If anything, what we have now is a recognition of them. And in some ways, that's hard and painful and scary. And in some ways, it's the only way forward.
It feels worse, but in fact, divisiveness is American history, not the exception to American history.
Yes.
With that in mind, a goal of the Constitution was to somehow prevent us from collapsing.
The only question was not how to prevent corruption and decay, but how to delay it for as long as possible.
They thought it would decay inevitably.
This is a world that believes in corruption. Like right now, we think about our conspiracy theories as like a 21st century thing. It's not. The 18th century was all about conspiracy theories. It was all about this idea of tyranny and the usurpation of liberty. And the same kind of heated rhetoric that we're used to today, there's a lot of that in the 1780s and 90s, where people are really concerned about the imminent demise of the republic right now, tomorrow, if the other guy is elected.
We also asked people to put today's America in context with America's past, and we got the answers you might have feared. Is there any moment from American history that comes to mind as a point of comparison with today?
Maybe the American Revolution.
Really?
Or the Civil War. There's a fracture that I don't think we've seen in over a century.
I guess the Civil War, when it was like the North versus the South, that's what it feels like again. It's just, it's not a matter of like locations fighting against each other. It's like people fighting against people over a president.
But Roney says there's actually a lesser known moment that may give us hope.
What I'm proud of in American history, what's a moment that I look to? I always said the election of 1800. I think it's just a phenomenal moment.
It's the first peaceful transfer of power between opposing sides in American history. And in his inaugural address, Thomas Jefferson made a now famous appeal for unity among the parties of the time, saying, "We are all Republicans. We are all Federalists."
There will be no blue states and red states.
As Joe Biden prepares to hit a very similar note in his inaugural address, not every American is ready to believe him.
How is he unifying America when he was supporting everyone who started the riots back over the summer? I don't see that as unifying at all.
Are you hopeful that he will be president for all Americans, not just the people who voted for him?
I hope so. I hope so.
Do you think it's likely? Do you expect so?
No.
But then again, we also found Susan Sandler literally basking in front of Independence Hall. What is the thing that you're basking in?
That we are so lucky to be in the United States.
She's optimistic, she says, in part because of the ideas ratified long ago in this very building.
I personally was not a Trump supporter. I supported the right of other people to believe in him and to give him a chance. I don't like how that worked out. So what did we do? We voted. That's what we do in the United States, right?
Yeah.
And then we respect that vote, and then we move forward. And if we don't like it, we vote again. That's what we do in the United States. So there we are. Back to our basics.
I like that
was
approach.
great.
I like that
she's
approach.
wonderful.
Did she?
Yeah.
Was she literally
She
just
was
sitting
literally,
out there like that?
we came over to her because she was in a purple jacket,
Yep.
basking
Basking.
in the liberty of Independence Hall, taking
Unfortunately,
it in.
a lot of people feel like the other woman.
Yeah, I
A lot
know,
of
the woman
people
from
feel that way.
Arizona.
Can't forget
Scary.
what the structure, what we have, and amazing what it's
Yeah.
endured.